So, this one's gonna be about focus and archery and Japanese archery and a German man and an archer master and archery and a German man and archery and mastery, a German man and Sanshin. Yeah. Oh my god. Already started so enormously great. And with that being said, hello and welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm pretty pumped. If you haven't noticed up to this point, I'm really pumped. Like, always when I'm in a train, I'm like, well, I gotta have to record when I'm at home, and I seem not to be particularly, like, I'm still looking forward to it, but it's not like, okay, I'm so fucking pumped that I'm now going to be able, at some days, it is actually the case. I'm feeling like, well, at least I can record something today. At least this is like the joy that I'm getting. But every time when I'm setting up everything, when I come home, like just put down my PC, turn on all the lights, it is just an amazing feeling. It just really feels good somehow. And I'm really fortunate, that I'm able to do that. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that, at least as easy as I'm able to do it. Which means like, okay, my Wi-Fi is pretty good. My internet is pretty good, which enables me to upload relatively big files. I have a great PC. I do have some lighting. I do just have a great phone, which actually makes the audio quality quite good. It is insane. It is really insane what is possible. Like what is possible with what I'm having, And in the end, the quality is actually good enough. Like, yeah, now it actually depends on what I'm doing with it, what I'm doing with the gear that I'm having, because, it is not only quality, but it's also like editing, which you could include into quality and whatever. But yeah, for me, it is something that is not like just really quality because it has nothing to do with hardware. But, if you're editing, your shitty videos enormously good, they are still pretty good. Like, I don't know, the old movies from Casey Neistat, they're still fucking great, because they're done really fucking great, Even though the camera was like shit, if you compare it to like nowadays DSLRs or just maybe even DSLRs back in the days, because he was just using a fucking, I don't know, just compact camera, like just, such an old one, like so small one with a lens, and it is not kind of detachable or something. It's just a lens, a camera, and that's quite it. And it is small. I think you know what I mean. But the thing is, they are still great. But yeah, this is at least something that I'm trying today, that this episode is going to be amazingly great, even though I might not be cutting it, unless you somehow count the cuts that I'm having while I'm doing the episode, which means like, okay, this section is different than the section we're going to afterwards. But yeah, I'm trying to be not charismatic, but I don't know, like if you're really trying to be something, if this is actually making it better or worse, I kind of feel like that it could just make it even worse, even though you would think, or you would like to think that it is making it better because you're thinking hard about it, but I don't think so. Somehow, I don't know. But yeah, as I've said already before the intro, we are going ahead with another James Clear article, or I've actually not told you that before the intro, but it is another James Clear article, It is actually my go-to site when I do not really know what to go through, and I might even go through another book, just tomorrow or something. I'm thinking about it, I guess, or doing something else maybe. Something that I've been doing up to this point is actually reading the article before I'm actually kind of reviewing it or going through it, because it makes everything a little bit more easy, and it also somehow ensures that there is something. And even though I do not quite understand the point of the story that I'm going to go through right afterwards, I still think it is, first of all, a great story, and it is also somehow a great message, even though I quite do not understand it. But what I understand, or what I just interpret there, is good in my point of view. But yeah, so Sanshin, learning the art of attention and focus from a legendary samurai archer. Well, yeah, I'm just debating with myself whether I should actually read it or not. Because, like, yeah, it's actually the only thing that I would be reading, or would I? Maybe I'm not going to read the first part, or I'm not going to read the second part. Nah, I'm not going to read the first part. So, the thing is, the thing is that in 1920 or in the 1920s, a German professor named Eugen Herrigel or Herrigel. I don't even know how you would pronounce it in English. Like Eugen, it is just oi. There's no oi in English actually. But yeah, he moved to Japan. He's actually or Japan actually. He is a German professor, and he came to teach philosophy at a university a few hours northeast of Tokyo in a city called Sendai, whatever. So to deepen his understanding, I'm actually reading it, so I'm going to show you. So to deepen his understanding of Japanese culture, Herrigel began training in Kyudo, the Japanese martial art of archery. He was taught by a legendary archer named Awa Kenzo. Kenzo was convinced that beginners should master the fundamentals of archery before attempting to shoot a real target, which means that he actually was shooting at a still target. I think it was some rolls, wasn't it? Yeah, it was just a roll of straw, just 7 feet away. So the roll of straw was 7 feet away from him, and he was shooting at it for 4 years. He was doing that for 4 years. 4 years. Now let's talk about dedication, motherfucker. Like, really talk about just doing bullshit every single day and for 4 years. And people, actually a pretty funny post that I've seen today was like, okay, people are working in a corporate job for 40 years, they're still broke and they're complaining, and people are working for fucking years in a fucking startup or in their own business and they are complaining and they want to quit. Like, yeah, where's the kind of, where's the dedication? Where is the being tough? Where's the toughness or something? I don't know. The thing is, then he actually, started to shoot real targets. But before that, he was actually complaining. He was complaining of the incredibly slow pace his teacher replied. So he was complaining about the pace, but the teacher replied, the way to the goal is not to be measured. Of what importance are weeks, months, and years? When he was finally permitted to shoot at more distant targets, Herrigel's performance was dismal. Like, the first few attempts was like miserable. Like, his aim was really off, which is actually also the thing that his teacher said. Like, he said, okay, your aim is off and your aim is poor, whatever it is. He was just, really not maybe concentrated. But yeah. So Kenzo, however, looked at his student and replied that it was not whether one aimed, but how one approached the task that determined the outcome. Frustrated with his reply, Herrigel blurted out, "Then you ought to be able to hit it blindfolded." Kenzo paused for a moment and then said, "Come to see me this evening." And yeah, now what happened is actually just because Kenzo was doing it I think it is actually. It must be. So Kenzo started to shoot. He met his teacher, he met his student in the dark, and it was really dark, like they couldn't see anything. And they started shooting at the targets. And because Kenzo was doing it for so many years and for such a long time, he just knew how to shoot the target. I do assume still, because they actually do not give some insights into that, I assume that the target was like, just there was a certain distance between him and the target, which means like, okay, he knows how to shoot it, he knows how to target it, how to shoot it, whatever. He just knows it, because he has been doing it for so many years, and of course you're going to be doing it blindfolded as well, then I assume, I at least assume. But he said, so after night had fallen, the two men returned to the courtyard. Just joking. So where the practice hall was located, Kenzo walked to his usual shooting location, now with the target hidden in the dark. The archery master proceeded through his normal routine, settled into his firing stance, drew the bow string tight, and released the first arrow into the darkness. Recalling the event later, Herrigel wrote, "I knew from the sound that it had hit the target. Immediately Kenzo drew a second arrow and again fired it into the night. Herrigel jumped up and ran across the courtyard to inspect the target. In his book Zen in the Art of Archery, he wrote, "When I switched on the light over the target," I don't know where the light is coming from, to be honest. Well, actually, maybe he had a light. Yeah, he probably had a light. They had light back in the days, even though it's been just a pretty long time ago. So when I switched on the light over the target stand, I discovered to my amazement that the first arrow was lodged full in the middle of the black, while the second arrow was splintered the butt of the first and blowed, whatever it actually means, through the shaft before embedding itself beside it. Kenzo had hit a double bullseye without being able to see the target. So now it is actually kind of the resume or the bottom line of it. Everything is aiming. Great archery masters often teach that everything is aiming. Where you place your feet, how you hold the bow, the way you breathe during the release of the arrow, it all determines the end result. In the case of August Kenzo, the master archer was so mindful to the process that led to an accurate shot that he was able to replicate the exact series of internal movements even without seeing the external target. This complete awareness of the body and mind in relation to the goal is known as senshin. And now we actually go into what senshin means, because as so many words, not even or not only in the Japanese language or Chinese language or Asian languages, but I would say also in just Western languages, it is often like, okay, words have different meanings. And, I think especially in different contexts, that they for sure have different meanings. Something that I've actually seen with goal. Goal could mean like a soccer goal. Goal could mean the field goal. Goal could mean like the goal that you're having in life. It just really depends on the context. And it is actually amazing. Like if you're mindful of it and if you know that it is just really kind of determined by the context you're giving to it, it is really funny, to use that. You can just use words. You can just use words in designs or your artworks or whatever it is, or books if you're a writer. It is just amazing. It's just amazing when you see that you can just play with the words to some degree. At least as I'm thinking about it, I can't even give you an example. I can't. So sashin is a word used, or sanshin, I hope it is pronounced correctly, is a word used commonly throughout Japanese martial arts to refer to a state of relaxed alertness. So relaxed alertness. It really reminds me, and I'm gonna be pissed about this, because I really hate it when I'm going through something, when I'm reading something, a headline or whatever it is, and then I'm stopping because I'm thinking about something different. I hate it when I'm editing the episodes or cutting out specific parts that I then use for certain other things. But relaxed alertness just really reminds me on actively or being actively patient, because the thing is, being patient is very important. I have to remind myself on that so often. Like, it is insane. I might not be the most patient guy, but I should really be, because good things always take time, and I think I've seen that. Like good things in my life, they have actually always they have been just taking some time, and they really just play something into it that I wanted to also talk about. I hope I can get to this point, because it's about the process, about the process versus just, actually focusing on the process versus focusing on goals or on metrics, analytics, all those things. I do hope that I somehow managed to get to there. But so being patient but still being active, because a lot of people I think are assuming that when I say okay, be patient, or when Gary Vee says, or some other people say be patient, that they mean laying around and just being patient, but passively patient. But I actually mean actively patient, or being actively patient, or active patience, because of course you should do things, of course you should act, of course you should record the episodes, of course you should just post your posts, whatever you're doing, but you should be patient. You should be knowing that it's gonna take some time. It's gonna probably take 2 years, it's gonna take 3 years, it's maybe even gonna take 5 years. Who actually knows? Nobody knows. I don't know, you don't know, nobody actually knows. In the really end. You can assume some things, and your assumptions might be right, but nobody for real knows. It is what it is. I'm so freaking pumped. It is insane. It's really insane. So literally translated, senshin means the mind with no reminder or remainder, because it's REMAINDER. A-I-N. What is a remainder? Is it actually remainder or is it... No, it is actually remainder. 87 members are elected directly and the remainder by proportional representation. Residue, balance, remaining. Is it actually like the noun of remaining? I don't know. I have never been good with words and such things. But yeah. So in other words, the mind completely focused on action and fixated on the task at hand. Sanjin is being constantly aware of your body, mind, and surroundings without stressing yourself. It is an effortless vigilance, or vigilance, is V-I-G-I, and it means watchfulness, careful observation, and whatever. So in practice, though Sanjin has even deeper meaning. Sanjin is choosing to live your life intentionally and acting with purpose rather than mindlessly falling victim to whatever comes their way. Actually a pretty important part there, and a really important thing that he points out there. It just really reminds me on, I don't know, just falling for every pleasure there is, whether it be food, whether it be just, sexual pleasure, whether it be like money, short-term money. It is really like, it reminds me on short-term versus long-term, which means like, okay, falling for the short-term, just choosing the money right now, choosing the better food right now, or the better tasting food right now, rather than choosing the not so tasty food, but healthy food because you're going to be healthy in the long term. It just really reminds me on that, and really in general falling for everything, falling for every satisfaction, maybe falling for everything that might be just pleasure. I guess, pleasure I think is a pretty great word to describe what I'm thinking about. The enemy of improvement. And there is a famous Japanese proverb that says, after winning the battle, tighten your helmet. And it basically says, because now I just remember that, every time we have finished something, it is basically before we have finished the next thing. Which means like, okay, and he's giving there a few other examples as well, but after every soccer game or after every football game, it is before every football game. So therefore you just have to be prepared. You have to stay in Sanjin mode or whatever. You have to just be conscious about it. But he also explains there, or says there, this is Sanjin as well, the act of living with alertness regardless of whether the goal has already been achieved or not. So we can carry this philosophy into many areas of life. Writing, the battle does not end when you publish a book. It ends when you consider yourself a finished product, when you lose the vigilance needed to continue improving your craft. Fitness, the battle doesn't end with your hit, when you hit a PR, so personal record. It ends when you lose concentration, skip workouts, or even when you lose perspective and overtrain. And entrepreneurship, the battle does not end when you make a big sale. It ends when you get cocky and complacent. The enemy of improvement is neither failure nor success. The enemy of improvement is boredom, fatigue, and lack of concentration. The enemy of improvement is lack of commitment to the process, because the process is everything. And now we actually right at the process. It is really important to focus on the progress, and progress, well, not actually progress, but process, the thing that you're doing, just actually focusing on the thing that you're doing, in terms of social media, or especially YouTube. For me, it's been not caring about my analytics, not always watching my analytics, not always looking up my analytics to see how everything is doing, and seeing that the Elon Musk videos are doing pretty well, and deciding to not do Elon Musk videos because of something. I actually don't know. I could just do a bunch of Elon Musk videos. I could be the next Elon Musk channel. I could be doing that. I could be just a fan channel. I don't know. I think there's just enough to talk about. And am I interested in that? Semi, I guess. Not fully, but also not like fully like just being distant from him, because he's an amazing person, and he does amazing stuff, and he's just a really interesting person as well. But the thing is, no, I don't think so. But maybe there's going to be another episode to just check if it is actually the case, because it's such an interesting thing. These videos just get clicked, and I don't know why. It isn't possible that it is because of the thumbnail. It really is not, because it basically looks like the same like everyone else or every other thumbnail. But yeah, you know what? let's actually go through this article, or let's finish up with this article because it is nearly already finished. So the art of Sanjin in everyday life. One should approach all activities and situations with the same sincerity, the same intensity, and the same awareness that one has with bow and arrow in hand. And I do want to point out there and kind of underline there that it is about all activities, because I was thinking like, of course we're approaching different things or different activities in a different way, especially when it is like something that you've done the first time or that you're doing the first time at this point of time, or it is something that you've been doing just for hundreds and thousands of times. It's going to be something different. It's going to be something new, ? It's going to be, you're just approaching it in a different way. This is what I want to say. But the thing is, should you? Is this smart? Does this make sense? Should you be approaching everything as would you have been doing it for just hundreds of years? Or should you go just the other extreme side, where you're like, okay, you're going to approach everything as it would be the first time? I don't know. What do you think about it? Hit me up on social media. You can always, always. I'm always there unless I'm working. Then I'm not there. And this quote, by the way, is from Kenneth Kushner, one arrow, one life. So we live in a world obsessed with results. Like Herigel, we have a tendency to put so much emphasis on whether or not the arrow hits the target. If, however, we put that intensity and focus and sincerity into the process, where we place our foot, how we hold the bow, how we breathe during the release of the arrow, and then hitting the bullseye is simply a side effect. The point is not to worry about hitting the target. The point is to fall in love with the boredom of doing the work and embrace each piece of the process. The point is to take that moment of Sanjin, the moment of complete awareness and focus, and carry it with you everywhere in life. It is not the target that matters. It is not the finish line that matters. It is the way we approach the goal that matters. Everything is aiming Sanjin. And this is the end of the article, and it just ends really cinematically. And I've been actually trying to read it also relatively cinematically, as far as I was able to, but I think I've done a pretty good job there, without actually, being just too nice to myself or something, or to just cheering myself up too much. I don't fucking know. It's been quite good. The thing is, yeah, the process is everything. If you hate the process, for example, let's take YouTube again, and let's take making videos again. If you hate the process of doing the videos every single day, of course it's gonna be a really hard time to hit the target. But if you like it, if you would be doing it anyway, it's gonna be coming, I guess. It's gonna be the case. Because if you love it, chances are there that you also want to improve, and also want to be better than everybody else. And something that I've learned today from one of Gary Vee's podcasts, once again, they are amazing, check them out, is that the best always wins, And if I'm starting a new channel, and I'm a new cooking channel, by the way, I've seen a new, and I think I've been talking about him before, but I've seen a new cooking channel rising up. It is just insane. Sometimes I actually see those channels that had like 30K or 100K, and then once I recognize like they're gonna just really be famous, they're just really gonna just push, they're really gonna pop up. It's been the case with Adam Ragusia. I don't know how to pronounce it or to spell it, I'm very sorry, but I could look that up. But I've seen him and his first videos, and I think he had 100K or maybe less. It's been something in that area. I think it was actually less than 100K, and now he's having like 400K or something. But the funny thing is, once I see people, once the channel hit actually my front page on YouTube, I kind of feel like, well, they have done it. They are going to rise. They are going to be pretty great. And maybe I'm going to be the front page today, on somebody's page. Yeah, might be the case, might not be the case, but I'm trying to stick to the process. I'm trying to just keep doing what I'm doing, to just also, keep attention to what people are saying, whether it might be too long, the episodes might be too long, whether something else. I don't know, there's so many variables that lead to just it being a good video, I guess, But But I think one of the most important parts is me, actually, and my talking abilities. Because I often see because lately I've been also listening to my own podcast to just check the audio and see how everything is working and how I should actually edit them so that it is nicely to listen to. Because, I assume that people are listening to podcasts while they are on the go, and there it is just really crucial that it is loud enough, but it is not just distorting to some point of time or whatsoever. Yeah, is it complicated? Maybe, you can say, I don't know. Yeah, maybe, to some degree. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to somehow determine how you should be editing in post the audio so that it is the best. Because sometimes you have to make trade-offs, and then it is pretty fucked off. But yeah, sometimes it just sounds completely different when I'm just listening it on a Mac, and then when I'm listening on my phone with the headphones, it's just way nicer and it's way better. But yeah, it should not be what the episode is all about. But if you're doing something, if you're having a podcast, if you're having a page, a Facebook page, an Instagram page, if you have TikTok, start TikTok right now. Start TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, I've started as well, and I'm also seeing that the organic reach is somehow just sinking a little bit. I kind of feel like that I'm not getting as many views as I've got, because I'm having just some stupid ass videos with 1.2k views, just out of nowhere, because organic reaches was somehow, I kind of feel like somehow so incredibly high that, you were able to reach everybody, theoretically. But the thing is, you can also see, those videos that only have one view, one like, or whatsoever, on my front page, or whatever it is called, my discovery page. And there you can see they actively push new content, which is pretty good. So start doing it, and also start on LinkedIn, even though it might be a little bit because it is just such a different context. It really is. But yeah, no matter what you're doing, think about the process, not progress, but process, and do not kind of give a fuck about the analytics too much. You're gonna cripple yourself. You really do, and it's gonna be not so good. But yeah, I think this is gonna be the end of the episode, and the recent episodes have been relatively short, to be honest. If it is good or bad, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it like this, I guess. It's gonna be just okay, what it is, or as it is, right at the time. I assume at least. I hope at least. Well, I hope. But yeah, I'm gonna see. If somebody speaks up and is like, well, I would like to have 60-minute episodes, then I do have to start thinking about something different, or have to think about making them differently. But yeah, thank you very much for listening. I really, truly appreciate that. From the bottom of my fucking heart, I can't even tell you how nice it is to actually see that people are watching the shit that you're posting every single day, and that you have been posting every single day. But yeah, so thanks a lot for that. And also subscribe to the podcast and to the YouTube channel if you do not want to lose anything, or lose out on any information, or miss out on any information. And yeah, like the video, rate the podcast, would be amazing. And yeah, I wish you the best health of feminism and success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself on how you're gonna be remembered, which means your legacy, because we can shape it, we can somehow sculpture it, but in the end, it is no matter how nice and generous you are, there's still gonna be someone that does not like you, or maybe even hates you. Who knows? But it is actually what it is, unfortunately. Maybe this is how we human beings are. I don't know. It could be the case. But yeah, also think about your purpose, and some questions that might help you with that is, or are, what are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to change? And why are you here? And what bothers you the most? Also a pretty good one. Those things that really piss you off, often is well, you gotta change them. Then you have a business idea and you have somehow a purpose in life. Maybe. But yeah, with that being said, thank you very much. I see you the next time. Hopefully, stay tuned and stay patient and satian. I've not pronounced it right. But yeah, I see you.